Hello, hi. I wanted to do a quick little video on Google Forms. I also wanted to share with you guys why I like Google Forms so much. And I want to kind of show you guys the convenience of using Google Forms as opposed to Google Docs for an assessment in your classroom. So for starters, if you want to create a test, at this point, we are always creating some kind of online test because that's the only way we can test our kids right now. But when we create those online tests, when we come across those sections that are a short answer or essay or something like that, we are limited to going to each child's test and looking at the grade. And looking at their responses. With Google Forms, when you download and collect the data and responses from the test, you have the option to see every child's response in one spreadsheet location, where every child, everything that they wrote is right there, even if it's a short answer, even if it's an essay. And I want to show you how we could do that and how it's a little bit easier than looking at each form. Like, we even know that if we have an assessment on Google Docs, we have to look at each Google Doc that's been submitted to us, where in Google Forms, we can just open up the spreadsheet, see all the responses in one location. We don't necessarily have to go and look at each individual sheet. Now, we will have to still go through and submit each grade to the child, but that's a little quicker than having to look at each sheet turning, 20 different pages. And then also in terms of how we have our separate grade book, separate from our Google grade book, it makes it easier for you to kind of see what's going on, to put your grades in a grade book anyway. But you'll see exactly what I'm talking about shortly. However, this does not mean that you have to use Google Forms. Please don't get that confused. I just wanted to share with you the ease of Google Forms and how it works. And I just want to give you another thing to do, something else to check out, something else for you to use in your classroom. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you kick it to the curb. All right. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And believe it or not, this is like my third time doing this because I was not sharing my screen fully. I was just sharing like parts of it and went through all the directions and it never even showed up. So I just wasted my 15 minutes of breath in my last video. So we're going to try to get this right this time. All right. So I'm sharing my screen so everyone can see my entire screen. And what I'm going to do is go into my Google Classroom. Now, you don't have to go to your Google Classroom to access Google Forms. You don't. But I just want to show you, different ways to create a form or to submit a form. Okay. Now, one way, just go into the waffle. So wherever your waffle's located, it could be on your desktop. It could be, you might access your waffle in your email. However you access your waffle, you can access Google Forms. So there's one way. Scroll down, click form, and it'll take you to form. So I just want to show you this way here. And it'll show all the forms that you completed. If you want to create a new form, go down to the bottom right and click new form. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Now, I want to show you the way by way of your classroom. Okay, so let's go to classwork. And if I want to create an assignment, I can click create. And I'm going to create quiz assignment, since that's what it is. It's a quiz, right? Now, because it's a quiz assignment, it's going to automatically take me to Google Forms. Now, that's the one way I wanted to show you. So what will happen is you'll go in to Google Forms, and I'll show you that. And then you create your form, and then your form is already here. Now, notice here where it says lock mode on Chromebooks. If you have children in your classroom who are not using a Chromebook, this is a horrible idea. So don't click it, because I think in just about every class, there's like one or two children who are using their own device, whether it's a PC or a Mac. So it doesn't work in your favor. Also, if you are not using a Chromebook, it gets real funky. So don't even bother. Leave that alone. Now, when we get back to school, that's a whole nother story. We can hit lock mode on Chromebooks. And what that does is lock it where when the student is taking the test, the only thing they could do is see that test. They can't pop in and out through other tabs. The only tab that's open is the test tab. Again, this only works with Google Chromebooks. When it is not a Chromebook, it doesn't work. And you'll get all kinds of crazy pop-ups and things like that. So leave it alone. Don't bother clicking it over. All right, so let me do my quiz. I'll just, call it whatever. And now that I've named it, let me put in some instructions. Please read the directions in the quiz carefully. I just threw out something, what you would usually put. All right, so now I'm going to click here. And I'm going to call it math. Okay. Calling it math here, and I want to make sure I have the name the same over here. All right, so I'm calling it math. Form description, math, what is it? Unit 2 math assessment. All right, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and so now I have my title of my math assessment. And now what I want to do is give the children some directions. You do have the option to give the kids directions. You know how you'll have directions in the section for true and false, for multiple choice, for open-ended, so on and so forth. And how we simply add the directions is by clicking the section where it says add title and description. And it's the add title and description because it has the 2 TTs, almost like a little icon for text almost. Click that, and then your box appears. Now, let's say it appears in a section that you don't want it. You can simply put your mouse up at the top where it has the dots, where when it gives you the little 4-way arrows, you know that you can slide it and move it in any place that you want. Okay, so now I have my description. And here I'm going to put multiple choice. And please choose the best answer for each question. Okay. You can also, you want to make sure you spell your stuff right. You can also import questions from like another quiz. So if you already created a Google form, you can import them from another quiz, and you can do that. All right, so I want to make sure I already have it set up as a quiz, so I don't have to make any changes. However, let's say I did want to make changes. All of my changes would be in the settings. Okay, I will come here, restricted to users. If you know that you have one child that is working off of like a different device and they might have trouble accessing certain forms and things like that, you can unclick this restrict to users in Pleasantville. I know we do have a couple kids that are working out of country, and sometimes it causes problems with them coming in. Sometimes it doesn't. But if you know that you have one child that has issues seeing forms and things of that nature, simply unclick it, that little check that's restriction. This way they can answer it no matter what device they're using. All right, whatever changes you make, please make sure you hit save. Okay, also with the quizzes, make sure your quizzes look, your format looks the way you want it. Remember, don't turn on lock mode. You might not want to show correct answers, so uncheck that. You might not want to show missed questions, even though it's probably a good idea too. But whatever you want to change, make sure you change it and then click save so that it applies to your test. So now let's start with questions. All right, I got 3 plus 8. Let me go back to my multiple choice. Option 1, let's put 11, 13, 15, and let's do 4. All right, so now notice all I did to throw in the answers was just type in the section where it said add option, add option, add option. Once I ran out of options to add, I don't have to write in the section called add option. I could leave it alone and it'll still make sure I just have my 1, 2, 3, 4 multiple choice answers. After I put in my multiple choice answers, I want to set the answer, all right, into the system. So what I want to do is click where it says answer key, choose my answer, which is choose the correct answer, click done. So now when the children go in and they take the quiz, the computer will be able to calculate and grade, whether or not they did the right answer or not. I'll be able to make that change, okay? Now let's say I want another question. Simply hit plus, and I can do the same thing. I can change my questions to like short answer, paragraph, all that other good stuff. I could change my questions and, there we are, I'm good. So now let's say I'm done and I want to send it out to everybody, all right? Because I already have it in that section, so I'm good. I can do email, all right? I can do the link, okay? And then I could do like this little embed. We're not worried about that. So I can do that. I can do the email. I can shorten the URL because sometimes we have those URL codes that's like 30 characters long, and they're not always our friend when we copy and paste. Sometimes we leave letters off and things of that nature. So I could shorten it, copy it, and then be able to send it to the rest of my kids. All right. So now that is done. Oh, before I leave this section, another thing I can do, notice I can add pictures. I can add a video to help answer the question. I could do that. The videos you would pick up from like YouTube videos. I could do that and add those to my questions to kind of get them used to all of those standardized tests that they have to take that have videos and things like that into them. You can do that as well. And so now what I can do, now that everything's in, I can click assign. And I'm going to assign it just to technology library because I'll be able to go in and erase it as well. I'm just going to click assign. And so now notice once I hit assign, it comes right into my assignments. Now for me, because I don't necessarily want them doing that, I am going to delete it. But for you, you want it in there so it goes right to where you left off. One thing I also wanted you to notice that when you were creating the assignment, you went in, you did your form, you did all your thing. Notice when you left that form, it didn't necessarily show like the name of the form, right? It didn't show that, but it's already in there, okay? So when you go and you see that little section, what you're going to do is go up to the top right, click assign. It's already going to assign the test, and then you'll see something like what we see right here where the name of the test is there, and then you'll be able to, the kids are now able to see it.